Alright guys, how you doing? I'm going to finally get this Sidewinder face-off tutorial done that I talked about maybe 3 weeks ago. I've just been avoiding it a little bit, but I'm going to go and do it. It should be pretty simple. First thing I'm going to do is go into my options and my controls. Now, as you know, I use keyboard and mouse, and I've got my best settings, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to set a custom preset. I've already done it, yeah? Roll and pitch, whether you use a mouse or joystick, you should probably be using roll and pitch on that. I'm not going to bother with yaw left or yaw right for this video, because you don't need it. And I want to use as little controls as possible, because this is what can be putting people off. There's an awful lot of stuff here, and the sheer volume of controls can really put people off. So for that reason, there's going to be no thrust used either. Now you do need to have your throttle up and down. If you're using a throttle, great. If you're using your mouse, you maybe use your scroll wheel or something like that. That's what I use. I use my scroll wheel and my mouse for my throttle up and down. If you are using a mouse, then you do want to use something like 12.5% instead of having a continuous throttle, because it will go very slowly with continuous. Right, so we don't need any of this. We do need a boost button, engine boost. Yeah, I use my space bar. That's something that you should have in your joystick as well if you're using a joystick. Right, select target heads, one you should already have. Basically, you're only going to use it once. You're going to select him right at the very start, once he's in your crosshairs, just to target him. You need a way to fire, obviously, and I believe that's pretty much it, apart from the new part, which is your power, your diverting power to engines, diverting power to weapons, diverting power to systems, and balancing your power distribution. These are the 4 new things that you're going to use once you get to this tutorial. I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, this is like 90% of your dogfighting. So these are vitally important, binds. So you want them very memorable, something that's very easy to click or press. You're going to be using these a lot in every single fight you do. So apply. Click on tutorials and click on the Sidewinder face-off. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is press escape to pause it. Right, now the reason for pausing it, simply just to show you that you can pause it and the action does pause. And also just to discuss little things about what I'm going to do. Right at the very start, he starts in a good position, coming straight towards you. Your guns aren't out or anything, and this can kind of scare you off a little bit, because he starts shooting at you and you're in a bit of a panic wondering what to do. So if you find that that's what's happening, the best thing to do is just put as many pips into your shields. You remember we talked about the power distribution right at the end there, before we started the tutorial. What you do is, my 2 key, which is set for power to shields, I'm going to press that twice in order to put 4 pips into my shields. Now, at the same time, I'm going to throttle up into the blue zone. Now, the blue zone in your throttle next to your scanner. And the reason you want to stay in the blue zone is because that's at the point where you're at your most manoeuvrable. Now, it's going to be very slow at the start, moving towards them, because we're only going to have 1 pip into the engines because we've put 4 into the shields. But don't worry too much about that, because even though he's unloading all these shots on you, he's not going to get through your shields. Now, when he gets towards you, you're also going to have to target him using your target head. So that's like the sort of 3 things you need to do. You can bring out your weapons as you move towards him, and you'll see him flying towards you, and he will fly up. As he's coming towards you, just be prepared, to start pitching up. And that way you should you should just about get behind him. We'll see how it goes. Right, so remember, 2 pips into shields, target ahead, and throttle to the blue zone. Right, there's a 2 into the shields, throttle goes to the blue zone, and I've targeted him ahead. You see I'm moving very slowly, but my shields are holding. Right, he's coming towards me, I'm going to turn and... Right. Forgot to bring up my weapons, but I can do it now. I reach out and touch you. That's the first time I've seen that message. Right. Now that's the thing, if you look at the top left at your comms, you know when he's about to open fire on you because he says something like, "Here comes the pain." When he says that, that means he's basically got himself into a position where he's ready to fire at you. Now, I just throttled up a little bit there, just to get a little bit closer. What I'm going to do here is show you how incredibly easy it is to stay on him, right? We'll let him get a little bit away. Right, see what I mean? He thinks he's going to shoot. But if you just move up with him, he can't really get a clear shot at you. Right, now, we've got 4 pips into shields, yeah, but I don't need shields because he's not shooting at me. So what we're going to do now is put 4 into engines instead. So if I press my 1 key 3 times, right, now straight away I can now move much faster while turning at the same manoeuvrability. And we're sort of maybe going a little bit too fast, so you just need to throttle down a little bit if you think that's happening, yeah? What we're going to try and do is keep him in our sights as long as we possibly can. Now all I'm doing, now I'm not using any advanced controls, I'm just simply using, you know, up, down, left, right on my mouse. But you can't really get away from me because I'm far more manoeuvrable so long as I'm in the blue zone, yeah? And you can see the blue zone's bigger now since I put 4 pips into the engines. Now, this is something you should practice doing. Because this guy flies a little bit better than the Solar Fluke, yeah? If you look at the left hand side of the dashboard, you can see his competent level. The Solar Fluke was harmless, right? So Solar Fluke's really bad, but this guy's, you know, not too bad at competent level. He's flying the same ship as you are. Now, if you're finding it difficult to keep him in your sights like this, there's nothing I can do for you. It is simply just practice. Yeah. Now, I'm using a mouse. A lot of people say the mouse is no good, but I can easily keep this guy in my sights all day if I want. You know. Just follow him around. Now, look at his look at the jets if you want, if that gives you a hint to where he's going. Or look at the red arrows to see what direction he's going. Every now and then he'll sort of feign to one direction and then go the other way. He's going to try and turn on me here, so I'm going to boost. Move up at the same time. He's got behind me. This is when you start looking at your scanner. See where he is. He's behind me and he's to my left. Yeah? So if I move left, he comes centre of me again. Now, there are 2 visual cues. You can look at the scanner or you can look at the trails. The problem with the trails is if you're doing loops, if you're following him trying to loop, then you can sometimes get more than 2 trails on the screen and it can get a little bit confusing. So whenever I can't see my target, my eyes immediately go to the scanner at the bottom. And you know that he's above you because of the size of the because you know the line's going up and the little triangle, filled triangle at the top. So you know exactly when he's going to come back into the screen. As you can see, this guy is really not very threatening. So long as you can just basically follow where he is. When he's not on the screen, follow him on the scanner so that you get him back onto the screen. Just copy his movements. When he boosts away, you don't need to boost too quickly. If you boost too quickly, you can sometimes run past him. It's not really what you want either. I've sort of done that again, but it's because he was turning. I'll soon be on his tail again though. There you go. Now you can also follow him by throttling up, but it's very important that you remember to get back into that blue zone while you're turning. If you don't do that, this is how he ends up winning the turning fight, and that's when you lose. Right, I'm just going to unload some weapons on him. Badly. That's all it took. The shields are down. Now, my weapons aren't going to regenerate because I've got no pips in my weapons. Right, so basically my weapons fires out. Once again, this is all about your power distributor. Because he's not attacking you, you don't need anything into your systems or shields, yeah? So you can afford to put 2 pips into weapons. Now, the best thing to do is put 2 pips into weapons and try and keep your 4 in your engines. Now the way to do that is, first of all, put 4 pips into your weapons. As you see, I've now got 4 pips in weapons, and then press your engine one to put 2 back into engines. And I got the wrong key, obviously, so I'm going to put them into weapons and 4 into engines. this is a good setup when you're attacking somebody. It's 4 into engines, 2 into weapons. As you see, my weapons are filled up again. Not only that, when you've got pips and weapons, you can fire many more shots before you're out of weapons, and you're constantly regenerating your weapons fire. Right, so we'll pause it there. Now, to be brutally frank, that is all it takes in order to beat this guy. There are even easier ways. You can actually blow him away in the very first volley of fire against him, but you were never going to learn anything if I just did that. All I can say is, basically, try and follow him as closely as you can, because this is a big part of it. And once you've got your distributor down, once you've got that nailed, this is 90% of how you win dogfights is managing your power. The effective management of your power. When you've got them in your sights, you don't want anything really in systems unless you're really desperate to regenerate your shields, or if you're fighting a 2v1, something like that. When somebody else is shooting at you, you maybe want to keep some points in your systems. But in a 1v1, you've got this guy, he's a sitting duck. Just keep him a sitting duck by having, all your 4 pips in your engines, 2 into weapons. Maintain the blue zone, and you can get really close to this guy. A little bit of throttle control, and you can get really close to him. I mean, I can probably fly within 80 meters off him if I'm, motivated. Can't quite do that right now, but like I said, yeah, he's that's how easy it is. I'm just going to finish him off now. Oops, I cheated there. I used my Yorkie. I didn't have a Yorkie. I think I've lost the ability to fly this last minute or two. So yeah, basically that's it. I mean, it's all about being able to follow them. If you can't follow them, it's because you've got to get your controls set up so that they're tight enough, just so that you can actually do all that. A little bit of keeping yourself in the blue zone regarding your throttle. A little bit of management of your pips. And he's a goner. Right, I hope that was informative. I'm not really sure if this is going to help you or not. It's very difficult for me to tell, what the issue is that people are having with this. I think this is probably going to be it. I was having a nightmare with this guy a month ago. If you're having a nightmare with him now, you can see how easily, it is for me to defeat him. Keep him in my sights. He can't even get a shot off after the initial volley. You can keep on practicing it, but after you beat this guy, after you've got this guy on farm like I could have him on, you're more than ready to go out into the actual game proper. Competent level Sidewinder, you're unlikely to meet much worse than that for the first couple of hours of the game. So you're definitely, you're capable of going out and fighting, playing the normal game after you can beat this guy regularly. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm not really sure what I'll do for the next video, but I hope to see you then anyway.